The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Giving a voice to the voiceless, pulling stories out of the shadows and putting them under the spotlight, making sure that each person is valued and cared for. This is Humanity First with Peter Evers, presented by BAMSI.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Humanity First. And we're going to be very introspective today at BAMSI, where I work. It is our organization's 50th anniversary this year, which is unbelievable. Been around since 1975. And we're going to talk with our Vice President of Marketing, Philanthropy and Communication, Sarah Gonet, who is steering us through the celebrations for our 50th anniversary. We're going to talk about 2 or 3 major events that we're going to be engaging in over the year, and a few things that we've been doing for a long time that are volunteer events, and hopefully stimulate some thoughts from people about how to get involved in advocacy for people with disabilities and involved in our organization for volunteer activities and that kind of thing. And so it's going to be a great conversation, so stick around.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm an essential worker here at BAMSI, and I'm a nurse. Nurses are essential here at BAMSI because as nurses, we really have the opportunity to make an impact. We have very small ratios, so we have the opportunity to really learn everything about the person served and be able to give the best care. It really serves such a great purpose for me as being a nurse and really why I came into nursing. Learn more about nursing opportunities at bamsijobs.org.
Giving a voice to the voiceless, pulling stories out of the shadows and putting them under the spotlight, making sure that each person is valued and cared for. This is Humanity First with Peter Evers, presented by BAMSI.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Humanity First. And we are going to have a great conversation now about something very specific to our organization, BAMSI. And we have our VP of Marketing, Philanthropy, and Communication, Sarah Gonet. Welcome, Sarah. It's lovely to have you with us.
Thank you, Peter. It's nice to be here.
And you're a bit of a veteran of this show. You've been on this a couple of times, right?
I have. It's been a little while, but I'm excited now that we're in 2025 to talk about some of the exciting things we have happening.
That's right. And, you know, philanthropy is such an important part of what we do in human services. We do a lot of business with the state, but if you ever look at contracts for the state and the work that we do, they're very good. We have a good relationship with them, but we're always looking to expand that to make sure that the experience of the people that we serve is that little bit better, that little bit more enhanced, and the quality of life that we're offering to people is as good as it can be. And if you go and look at some of our houses, some of them should be in homes and gardens because they are so beautifully built, especially for people with developmental disabilities. And a lot of that comes from the work that we do in our community, raising money and making sure that we have a presence in the community. And you do a wonderful job with that, Sarah.
Thank you.
But really as I said in the preamble, we are here to talk about our 50th anniversary. So we are 50 this year, which means that there was a decree signed in 1975 by then Governor Dukakis. And I remember the governor. I actually met him once on a train. Very nice man. Anyway, and he's still with us today, of course. And it is interesting that so many things have happened over the years, and probably an interesting conversation to us have now because there is such a change in the political environment at the moment. Certainly not going to get into politics, but there's a change in the political environment that really is going to put at risk some of the money that we get from the federal government and perhaps also the state government. So now more than ever, it's important for us to tell our story to our community and for our community to support us by way of monies and advocacy to make sure that we're around for the next 50 years. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about what being 50 means for this organization and how we should be celebrating it. It's a big milestone.
It is, and I think it says a lot. So there's a few different ways to look at it, right? I think when people see and hear 50th anniversary, the automatic inclination is to look back over the last 50 years, and I think that's really important when you think of, you know, the trajectory that behavioral and mental health services have taken over the past 50 years. They've come a long way. I think we can all agree they have a long way to go. I think that's where, us as an organization, us being BAMSI, can really leverage that, right? We can look at the past, we can celebrate some of those milestones, but I think using the 50th anniversary kind of as a springboard for, what the next 5, 10, 25, 50 years will bring and how we can be a positive force in that, right?
So a little bit of celebrating what we've been through, but also looking forward to what we mean and what we're going to mean to our communities in the future.
Definitely.
One particular thing I think about often is this is an organization that strives to do the right thing all the time. And, sometimes the right thing doesn't appear to everybody to be the right thing. And there are some things that we've done over the years that we're still doing today that really made us a brave organization. This is before you and I, of course, were here. It was when Tony Simonelli was the CEO, and he was the CEO for I think about 35 years, something like that, and grew this agency. And an example of how BAMSI stands up and is brave is in 1995 when we decided that we were going to get into the business of HIV and AIDS testing and providing services for those people. Now, remember, it wasn't the most popular thing to do at the time. There was a great deal of stigma attached to HIV, and there still is, let's face it, there is. But we've been doing that testing and providing case management ever since then. And it makes you think that an organization that has that kind of history is well placed to take on the next big thing that's coming down the pike. And I think about our COPE Center as well, which is a harm reduction program, which is really about providing services for people when they're at their very worst, where they're in the throes of the disease of addiction. And we can reach out and help them with harm reduction products. Again, something that people aren't particularly keen on in our community. But it's the right thing to do because we're, the mayor of Brockton always tells us that every Brocktonian he represents, even those people who struggle with this disease, and we're here to do that. Who knows what the next thing is, but I think it puts us in good stead for the future.
I think definitely. If you look at the vast majority of nonprofit organizations and the great work that they do, it's not usually, helping people who are in like the high point of their lives, right? There are certainly organizations, and we try to weave that into everything that we do. But I think, it's having that compassionate piece and reaching people when they are at their lowest and doing things that might not be considered popular, if you will. I think that's, a theme that will continue to come up over the next several months and years. But it might not be the most popular thing. But if we look back on what we did in, again, 5, 10, 25, 50 years, will we say, wow, that, we might not have taken the most, popular angle. We might not have done what everyone, the majority of people thought was the right thing, but we knew it was the right thing. Right. And I think that's what keeps an organization going for decades.
I think so. And, when you think about it, BAMSI is a presence in Brockton. It also is in Worcester and beyond and down in Plymouth and Plimpton. And people often say to me, wow, you've got so many places. I see your signs everywhere. No. People don't always know what we do. And so part of our work really is in advocacy and taking the opportunity for 2025, our 50th year, to sell BAMSI, to let people know. And we've got a number of things going on, but there's 3 things I think that you really want to talk about today in terms of what is going to be happening over the next few months.
Definitely. So I think obviously a 50th anniversary is an opportunity to celebrate, but also I think celebrate the people who've made the organization, the people we've served, but also to bring in new folks into the fold, right? So what we've done is throughout our 50th year, tried to come up with a number of celebrations or engagement type activities that would appeal to everyone, from the folks we serve, to our staff, to the community, to potential donors, to really everyone. So we'll start the year started off obviously already with our 50th Fridays. So if you check out on social media and some of our newsletters, we feature a different kind of tidbit of BAMSI over the past 50 years, which has been nice. That nostalgic piece that
sort of going back into the archives, and
right?
Finding some pictures of people who you say, did they really look like that?
Exactly. Everyone loves those, right? Well, sometimes not the person in the picture, but so trying to do that historical piece. But we will be kicking off on April 1st. A virtual fundraiser / fundraiser called BAMSI in Motion. Last year's the first year we did it. This year we're looking for it to be bigger and better. And really, it's an activity. It's an online platform that everyone can engage in. There's a nominal fee to register, and you can get that fee back with a gift card that you can use anywhere, pretty much local retailers as well as restaurants. But really, it's a platform that will incentivize folks with a lot of different team building activities, prizes, things of that nature to really get out and do things that are good for mental health. So, some people that might be a jog, other people that might be cooking or reading. So trying to get folks to as we're coming out of winter, engage and bring their family and friends into the activities as well.
Yeah, what I really like about that is that, and I participated in many of these these sort of runs. In fact, BAMSI regularly over the last few years has had people running in the Falmouth Road Race, and we're always looking for bibs to do that and people to volunteer. And of course, that is in August, I think. That's right. But what I like about this is that we're an inclusive organization, and we're inclusive in our community as well. So creating activities that don't necessarily mean that you have to have a high or medium level of physical ability is very important for the work we do. So tell me some of the ways that we can sort of get points in terms of this, in terms of the activities.
Definitely. Well, really, there's not really anything you can't get points for, and in terms of when you're thinking of what really contributes to your mental and physical well-being, right? So there are basically the platform. You sign up, very easy to sign up. You can form a team, very easy to do that. Share it on social media, and really you go in and you start tracking whether you're someone who wears the Fitbit or the Apple Watch, and is tech savvy, it can upload your points automatically. Or you can go in and you can start earning points for things that you might not think are helping your well-being. So maybe it is something as simple as taking, a 20-minute nap when you're not feeling well. So you can earn points for napping. There's not too many activity fundraisers, but I think we do. I think in addition to the activities themselves and the camaraderie, it's to highlight where people, I think, fall short in not thinking about their health and well-being. Most people don't get enough sleep. Most people don't take time to read a book or spend time with family, or just maybe, you can earn points for something like going to visit a relative or a friend that you haven't seen in a while. So kind of to get people thinking about things that might actually contribute to them feeling better overall.
Right. And now is a perfect time to begin to think about that sort of, even like work-life balance and things, and how we derive our pleasure. And somebody said that they were doing knitting, which I love the idea of that. In fact, I'm going to learn to knit so that I can maybe use that as one of the activities. So that's one thing. What else? What else is going on?
Well, we will have a 50th anniversary gala. BAMSI, like many nonprofits, kind of our in-person gala went to the wayside during COVID, and we're bringing it back this year with a local feel. It will be at Thorny Lee Country Club on Friday, June 6th. We have a number of sponsorship opportunities, as well as individual tickets. We are going to be engaging our persons served, and really the theme of the evening is Starry Nights, and we'll be showcasing our persons served and our staff is really the stars, right? That make BAMSI what it is. Over whether it was, in the 1970s or yesterday, it's really the people that we serve that make BAMSI the organization that it is, and as well as the staff. We have some incredible staff members. Some of them have been here a very long time, but I at the office I see us hiring new folks all the time. So wanting them to feel part of, you might be new to the organization, but know that you're a part of the bigger picture. So that will be our gala in June. And then, like also many nonprofits, we do a golf tournament, and we will be having our golf tournament also locally. This time in Taunton at Segregansett on Monday, September 22nd. So again, a great opportunity for corporate sponsors, or even if individuals want to come out and have an individual golfing spot, we can fit folks in. And also both events, ways to engage volunteers. We want, if people hear about these events and want to help out in some way, maybe sponsoring isn't what they're interested in or able to do, but they want to volunteer in some way, I'd encourage them to reach out, because we have a lot of different things we can use help with.
Right. Just want to go back to what we were talking about in the gala, and how our staff are the very lifeblood of what we do at this organization. And, I was just thinking when I first came on board, which was the first week of COVID, and we went into lockdown my first week, which is not the best way to come into an organization, but I did see how remarkable our direct care folks and our nurses are. They Many of them actually stayed at work for 2 weeks at a time, and then would cycle out and then come back for another 2 weeks, because we realized that we could reduce the infection possibility of COVID. And we had some remarkable outcomes in terms of keeping people alive and bringing people through. And when you think about it, many of the people that we care for are very, very high medical fragility, who are on vents 24/7. So the ability to celebrate those stories of our staff, but also the stories of the people who, when I think about it, 50 years ago, people with developmental disabilities or severe mental illness were in asylums. They were kept in asylums. Taunton State used to have 3,500 people on. There was no expectation of them having a life other than that. What we have done, and many of our fellow providers, is build houses for people to be a part of their community. And I think of people like Stephen Saunders, who's been on this show before. He always talks about he beat the nursing home system. They thought he was going to die. And for the last 15 years, he has been an incredible productive member of both the BAMSI environment, but also the statewide human rights board and things like that. Those are the real stories, right, of success, that this is a community, this is a state where everybody is important, and we're putting the infrastructure so that we can stand behind that, and to have a gala that celebrates that is absolutely wonderful.
Definitely.
And of course, the golf tournament it's a new place, I believe, this year. Is that right?
We went there last year for the very first time,
right.
but I know we've jumped around a little bit, but I think people really enjoyed it. The players enjoyed it. We did have a little bit of rain, just a little. So I think we're due for we're doing it in the fall. Our tournaments have usually been in August. So folks had suggested moving a little bit further back into the fall, weather-wise, and things like that. So I've put in a plug for good weather and no rain.
I can't believe I forgot that we were there last year. I think it was actually Norton that we were there the year before.
We were, and it rained at both, and those are the two that I. So he probably started to run together.
Yeah, and of course that actually is a PGA tournament park, and a lot of the people who did Norton said that it was really, really hard, and they were taking sort of 4 or 5 hours to do that. So a little bit easier, but a challenge, no doubt. Maybe I'll just finish on this notion of volunteerism that you brought up before, because of course we're selling this. We're really wanting to get people involved in volunteering, because then they get to spread the word about advocacy. They also get to give, right? People who give when they feel connected to the process. Talk about Brown Bag a little bit, because we've been doing that for many years, and it's one of my favorite times of the month.
Absolutely. So Brown Bag is a perfect example, I think, of engaging in either individuals or corporations on different levels, right? So Brown Bag, once a month, third Thursday of every month, we partner with the Greater Boston Food Bank, as well as Adult Teen Challenge in Brockton, and we basically sort, bag, and deliver anywhere from 12,000 to 20,000 pounds of food. So I'd say 700 or 800 bags of food every month. And what's great about that, there's so many stories now that I've been at BAMSI, for over 2 years now. I can see how, there's the trajectory of someone kind of coming into the BAMSI fold and progressing and becoming more engaged. We've had volunteers who, as a one-off, saw an advertisement for Brown Bag, showed up, volunteered, and then, came back month after month. I'm thinking of one volunteer in particular. And then that individual made a small gift to BAMSI themselves, and then engaged their employer in making a corporate gift. And then brings back a larger group of corporate volunteers. I mean, I think those are the stories. Because people I think donors are a lot more savvy than they have been in past generations, right? Just to be quite honest, people ask the questions on, where you're not just giving to a charity because it's a good organization. You're giving because you want to know where the money's going and who it's helping and how it's being used. And that's a good thing. And I think that's where volunteerism comes in, because people can see.
They can see what's happening. Yeah. And it's a good workout as well. And I would.
It is.
And any organizations out there, we've had Enterprise Car Rental, we've had Starbucks, we've had many others, and they really, really enjoy the teamwork idea of it as well. And it's just it's a wonderful thing. Sarah, we're out of time, of course, but it's going to be a great year, and I wish you a happy 50th.
Thank you.
BAMSI. We're going to have some fun this year, and thank you everybody for listening. and watching. And I'll just, maybe Sarah, you want to repeat the website again, because all the information is there.
Absolutely. It will be www.bamsi.org/events to check out everything that's happening for the 50th.
Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
I appreciate it, Peter.